Hello and welcome back. In our previous lesson, we have already designed the new thread, which is based on multitasking threads as shown here. In this practical walkthrough, we are going to create this in our Visual Studio. So let's take a look. Go and open your Visual Studio 2019 and then click on Create New Project. Make sure your options up here are C#, Windows, Desktop, and then select Windows Form App.NET Framework and click on Next. In the project name here, we'll call it 03-multithread. And then here, click on the three dots and navigate to your Red Projects folder and select it. And then click on Create. The first thing we are going to do is to set the opacity of the form to 0. So click on the form, come down here. Make sure you click on the properties here and then scroll down to opacity, which is here. You can either list it based off of alphabetical order or by categories, but make sure you click on properties first. And then for the opacity, just set it to 0% and hit enter. Next, we'll insert a form shown event handler. So click on the lightning icon and scroll down to look for the shown event. Select it and double click, and it should be inserted for you over here. In future, if you wanted to look for this source code, you can come down to the form designer, click on the form, and then click on the first one here, the constructor, this one. So when you click on this, you'll be able to see all this code listing here if you ever need to make any changes. So now over here, we are going to copy our source code from this file, which you can download from this resource section. So let us copy all the includes from here first. Copy, come to the code, select and delete all this, and then paste the copied code in here. Next, we'll delete all the main class here and replace it with our own new code, which is from here, the public class. So select all this all the way to here. Select all this. Inside the namespace, select the public class form1. So select that, copy, and paste it in here. There you go. Then click on Save. So let me explain the new things. So what is new here? We still have the form1 shown event handler and the hide function, display listener start, and we also still have the run server. However, there is something new in the run server. In the run server, we have our while loop as before, but this time, whenever the server receives the message, whether it's M or B or Q, it will create a new thread, and then it will assign it to this thread object, and then it will start the thread. So this thread object here comes from using the system.threading library. It is used for creating multiple multitasking threads that can run concurrently. So in order to use threads, we have to make a declaration here. We have to create two thread objects, one for the message and one for the beep. If you have more than one command messages, then you put it all in one line here. So use a separate thread for each command so that the server commands can run concurrently instead of blocking. So currently over here we have two commands, so that's why we create two threads, th message and th beep. Th is a abbreviation for thread. So over here we use the constructor for thread, use the new keyword and call the constructor for thread to pass a new thread start object and then assign it to thread message once the thread has been created. So the thread object, the thread constructor accepts a thread start object. So that is why we need to call the thread start constructor inside the parameter. So when you use the new keyword here, it means you are creating another object. So this object is created on the fly. That's why we don't have to specify another different separate object just to store this. We just want to create on the fly and then directly assign it to the parameter for the thread constructor. So the thread start object accepts the task that is supposed to run for this thread. So here you pass this function message command, and message command is over here. So over here and here you will put your message box in a separate function like this, and your beep command in a separate function like this. So we call it message command and beep command, and inside it you can see our familiar message box show and the console beep function. So why we do it this way? So that we can pass this function to the thread start object when we create the thread start object. So after that we get a new thread being created which has got this thread start task that is supposed to perform, and then we store it in the thread th message object. After that we need to start the thread, so we call the start method that is found inside the thread. The same thing happens for message B, but this time we pass it a different task, a beep command task, and then we assign the new thread to the beep thread and then call it start method as well. So in this way, when the server is running, this loop will not block. It will keep on looping. It will not stop or pause to wait for any lines. It will just run. When it comes to this line, if the message is M, it comes to this line, spawn a new thread and continue to move to the next line. So you can run concurrently any number of threads at your discretion. So, and then last one is your quit message. The quit message does not need a thread. The quit message is the same as before. When you receive queue message, you just create an artificial exception so that you'll be caught by the catch block, and the catch block will then close everything and exit. Once the process exits, all the threads which are children of the process will also be killed instantly. So that is how it works. So that's the only new thing here. So in future, if you wanted to add more commands to this server, all you need to do is just copy this and then paste it below and then put in your new thread task that you want it to perform, and then you have to define your task over here. And of course you also have to define, you have to declare your new thread objects up here as well. So that's all for the explanation for how to implement our multitasking thread ret. In the next video, we are going to compile and build it, run it, and test it. Thank you for watching.